Okay, we're going to start off really easy with our movie title. So let's go ahead and make a new project, file, new. Doesn't matter again what size it is, we can always resize it. So we'll just hit create. We're going to create Hannah. So we're actually going to place the graphic in here and then we're going to trace over it. So file, place. I'll go ahead and grab Hannah and we'll place that in here. And we're just going to use the pen tool to trace this out. So with that placed there, I'm going to go ahead and scale it up with the hotkey E. I'll go ahead and drag that out. Again, if you hold shift, it will be proportional. And then I can move it into place. And then I'm going to grab the pen tool. We will be using the pen tool quite a bit. And I'm just going to trace over these lines. Now I could honestly just make a block for these first ones right here. So I could just create a shape like that. Now I'm not going to want any stroke on these. And I'm just going to want white as the background. And with the select tool, I can just alt drag this over like so. And I'll show you guys how to align in a second. But for these, I'm just going to use the pen tool because it's faster than trying to manipulate this shape. So pen tool, hotkey is P, just like in Photoshop, and then I can just trace these out real quick. Now, I can just guesstimate right here, but I wanted to show you something because I want to continually show you features of Illustrator. So I can't really see what I'm doing here. I can guess it's right there, then I need to put the next point. But also I can go over here to the appearance panel and I can take the opacity down like so. And then I know exactly where to put this next point. So, like that. And then of course, since this is a shape that we've got over here as well, we could use our select tool, alt drag, and duplicate that out. And then we'll go back to the pen tool and draw out this shape. Didn't get it perfect there, but we can manipulate it later. Go to the select tool, select it, I'll drag it over like so. And there we've got Hannah. So I want to show you the layer panel. It's a little bit more confusing, I would say, than Photoshop, so just be a little patient with yourself. Now I've got a lot of stuff all over the place here. I can start Xing out of some of this stuff and closing it out. What I want to get to is show you that there's all these panels here hidden kind of. And so this is the layer panel. It's a little bit different because notice I've got a bunch of different objects here and yet I only have one layer. So this is where it differs from Photoshop quite a bit. It's going to put everything in one layer as I build. So what happens is you end up with a massive stack here and it becomes organized and clean. However, if you're ever trying to go and select certain things, let's say I had a way more complex project here, this could be hundreds or thousands of different objects inside of a layer. So just keep that in mind. We'll obviously get into layers a little more in the future, but right now we know our graphics down here at the bottom. So we can also do things like hide them and lock them. So I could hide this graphic and then I'd have all these, white objects here. I can leave it there and lock it, and then it will just, I won't be able to move it or change it or anything, and I can lock it. And then I can move stuff around in here. Nothing's on top of each other, so I don't need to move any of these around. But I just wanted to show you the layer stack. Really quickly, we've created the Hannah titles, and we've talked about this hopefully in a lecture before you've watched this video about why this is kind of an interesting and cool design for titles. But real quick, I want to show you again this direct select tool. We need to fix a couple little points out here. So I'm going to zoom in and we'll just get these perfect. So I'll select this point and go ahead and move it up and over. Same thing here. And then as well over here, select this point, move it up and over. Okay, and it looks like this one I got a little wrong. You could always zoom in more when you're using the pen tool to get it perfect. Okay, so there I have the titles for Hannah. Now I could do whatever I want with them here. I could make them 3D or other cool things. I could color them a different color, as you well know. The reason these two are not the same as this is because, again, I've changed the opacity here. And again, that is in the appearance panel. So when I select this, it should actually show that it's not 0% opacity. It should be a different percentage. However, look, if you notice, all of these are selected still. So if I select here and then select there, then you see it's at 52% opacity. But I had everything selected. That's why it's all saying 0. So just keep that in mind. If you see them all highlighted like this, all the points, that means they're all selected. So then I can go back in here and change the opacities if I want to. Again, you could play around this a little bit. You could change the colors, make it 3D, try something different, try adding a gradient. The point here is to show you a couple things. One, we went over the pen tool. We went over direct selection again, where we can select points and move them around. I showed you the layer panel over here and how it's a little bit different than Photoshop. We'll be using it, again, it's a little bit more complex than Photoshop, so we're going to ease into knowing about it and using it. And then of course I showed you the appearance panel where you can change the opacity of different layers. So, hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next one.